If you just joined us, this is PIM, Partners in Marriage, our podcast. We're talking with Alicia Small and Myra Wilson. They are incredible young ladies who are educators, who are involved in church, the whole 9 yards. And we just want to make sure that we are bridging the gap. Believe it or not, you're saying the kind of things that we knew that you have to do. In marriage, if, as one preacher said, if it's new, it's probably not true. You can't create new character, integrity. That's what God created. And so when people are trying to do something quote unquote brand new, it doesn't work. So we're excited about that. But we're talking right now about commitment and priorities. And my wife asked a question about what's the most important quality you look for in a potential spouse. I think that's where we are kind of working around that. So if you had to put them in some kind of order, what's the first thing you said? It wasn't looks anymore.
No.
I mean, I know that counts.
It is. It does count, but it's not number one. Definitely a relationship with the Lord, because those, I feel like it starts from the head always. So if this person is seeking God constantly, then they're wanting to be somebody that God says well done to. So they're going to continue to check in with Him and make sure that they're, modeled after Him. And so things like honesty is going to be easy for that type of person, because God is honest, and that's what He calls us to be as people, as Christians. So just those type of things. So definitely, because you can be the finest thing, on the earth or whatever, but mean, and just disrespectful. And then I can't, introduce you to my parents because I don't know what you're going to say. And, so it has to be to where character is like definitely at the forefront. And then, physical attraction is very important. So that can't count that out, but definitely character.
I would say for me, I think I agree with everything Alicia said. I would probably add from consistency. I think that consistency is probably something that I know we have to practice sometimes, because I'm going to be honest, we're not always consistent. There are some things that I should be doing that I'm not as consistent in, but I think what I'm hoping for is someone who is consistent in character, because that means that you were really nice yesterday, and I know that you're going to be really nice today. And I think I'm someone who I don't really like surprises when it comes to personality traits. Like if you're nice, and I understand that we all have a day, right? But I like when people know how to retreat, because they recognize that I don't want this person to feel any kind of way.
Yeah, self-awareness is important.
So I want to let them know that, hey, today, I don't know, I'm just not in the best mood. And maybe you have a few reasons why, or sometimes we don't know. Maybe it's just life happens. But the idea of not showing up consistently, that's hard. That would be something hard for me to commit to when I don't really know how you're going to show up. And like you said, I think bringing people home to your family and wanting to know that this person has been so consistent since I met them. They show up, I'm not even gonna go into like things like timely and things like that, but their personality is so consistent that I know when they come around, I won't just enjoy their company, but I know my family will as well. Yeah. So it's not like, well, when they're around me, they act this way, but when they're around their family, they're this way, and they're around someone else, they're this way. I just wanna know that consistently you'll show up, you're trustworthy, consistently you're honest, consistently. Things like that really matter, but I think when character comes into play, this is just simply who you are. I don't want someone to bring, and I know sometimes they say like when you first start dating someone, it's really their representative. You have to really give it a little time before the real them shows up. But I'm hoping that whoever they show up as, that they're consistent in that. And so we know that things evolve, things change, and hopefully they only become better, only I become better. But I can commit and trust someone who have been showing up, or who has been showing up this same way time and time again. So consistency would be the first thing for me.
Sometimes though, when you are talking to them and you first meet them and you've been with them for a while, they are always going to show you their best side. They're going to be cognizant of that. And sometimes it's not until after you get married that you start seeing the little quirks that they have. But what you have to do is be willing to adjust, because that happened with us. I never saw some of the moody side, but but he you know, he got it together, you know, so it wasn't like, it wasn't a deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My mama helped me with that.
Okay.
My mama helped me with that. She told me, she said, the more Holy Ghost he gets, the better it's gonna be.
Yeah.
She said, you just do what you just keep doing what you do. And sure enough, you know, and she gave me little strategies, and he can tell you more about that, but it's not that you're gonna see everything. Now
Yeah.
you really are gonna have some red flags.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'll have to do like the song to say, you better run. Yes, but it's like you said, consistency. But all of it is not going to show at the same
Yeah,
time.
I believe
I
that.
can tell you by the Moody, when you saw the word Moody in the dictionary, my picture was next to it. As that's how bad I had it. But I was faithful and committed to my relationship. I was whatever
Definitely.
I knew I had to be to make her happy. It's just that I didn't know how to deal with those changes. But thank God, like you said, when you get really delivered, or you want something more for your relationship than you do for yourself. The selfishness is the key here. And I wanted to bring that up because we're going to finish 2 segments at one time, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And that was turn and run. We've seen so much of that recently, turn and run. And not just recently, over the years, where people say, I can't take it anymore. And they want to come to us and go tell them X, Y, and Z. I said, time out. You guys could talk
Yeah.
on back then. What happened that you can't talk now? And I think both of you brought up some excellent points about asking the question, not being picky all the time, but being able to converse and ask the same question from a different view. So,
You want to go first?
Yeah, I can. I think that with what was the last part that you said? I wanted to say something about what you said. I couldn't remember what.
you're talking about not to turn and run.
Yes, the turn and run, I feel like comes from trauma. So like you can have a conversation when things are going well, but then whenever somebody is making it seem like I am the bad guy, or when something is happening and there's a conflict, then it's like, I don't want to have this conversation because I can talk to you whenever I know that you think the world of me. But then when I know that, you know, you're angry with me, now I have to retreat because I can't handle somebody being angry with me. And so I feel like that comes from the person needing to go to therapy, and that could be the reason why they're like, tell them, you know, because they need a mediator or whatever. But I feel like with those kind of situations, that is just a red flag, or I hate to say red flag, but a light bulb coming off saying that there's some deeper issues that person individually needs to talk about. And to piggyback on what you were saying earlier about being moody and how she still was like, you know, I want to be committed to you. I'm sure she saw other traits in you that were like, you know what, this person outside of that is a really awesome person. And you know what I mean? And it's just like, this part of them is something that they have to work through. And I don't particularly care for this, but because this person is the best person for me, I want to be committed to this person.
Sure.
Yes, they may have this extra ism, but I really just enjoy this person's company to the core. And so I want to be committed to that person. And so speaking as far as me, you know, nobody is going to come to me perfect. I know I'm not perfect. So, you know, but I think that it's important to know like who that person is as far as character, to the core, who that person is, and just, are you a great person? Like, are you not somebody that's putting on and has charisma? You can, I feel like the Lord gives us a level of discernment where we can kind of peep, like, there's something about this person. I can't quite put my finger on it. They are amazing, but there's just something's like a mask or something going on with this person. It's not genuine. And I feel like the Lord, you know, he shines light on that if we listen. But yeah, so I just, you know, as far as being single and just waiting for our spouses and even interactions with people that may come into our lives, it's about just seeing that person and, you know, praying and just knowing who that person is as a core, which is important to, you guys in all other relationships that flourish, and how you start by being friends first and really just knowing them on a platonic level, not having the mindset of like, I want to marry this person, or, like honeymoon phase, but it's just a matter of like, I just want to hang out with you. I just want to go get a foot long hot dog. We're not doing nothing. We just chilling, kind of thing. So
I want to go back to the, I think what did you call it? The turn, like
Turn and run.
The turn and run. I think this generation, Alicia can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a very like turn and run generation.
For sure.
I think that this generation has become so into things like, you're messing with my peace, and your
mental health,
and you're not fitting into my aura and my energy. Like these are like words that they're using that don't always hold any value, but it's almost like the moment something slightly goes a little left, we're not always willing to stick it out. And so I think, to go back to what Aunt Bertel said, is sometimes we don't see the whole. When you meet someone and y'all are hanging out and you're working towards marriage, and then you move in together, now you're living together, I'm okay with recognizing that there may be something about me that he says, Myra, you might want to, I think I'm trying to learn how to look at things both ways, because we always assume, we always think sometimes that it's always going to be the other person with the isms, but sometimes we have something that I haven't seen, just because it's just been myself for so long. But when somebody else comes in, they're able to see those things. And so I'm learning that even if someone sees something like, hey, let's work on that together, I don't have to run, because all of a sudden it's like, wait, so I'm not the perfect person. I think we have this picture that everything has it sometimes be just right. And so we're so quick to turn and run because things aren't going how we envision them to go. Things aren't going to how we planned. And I think social media has really caused a lot of pressure on people to feel like relationships have to look this way, because let's be honest, people are showing us what we want to see, but we don't know the isms and schisms that's going on when they press stop on the camera. And so I think that so many people want those relationships that they're seeing in these minute and a half reels, and truth be told, it's a whole lot going on in the other 24 hours that we may not even see. And so sometimes when people feel like, wait, this is not like how I thought it would be, he's not bringing me flowers, every other day, he's not surprising me on, he's not popping up on a Tuesday. I think social media and movies have put us in a mode to believe that this is how it's going to be. And so because of that, I feel like we have a hard time with commitment, because we're seeing things through a lens of somebody else. And so the truth is, I think that we can meet a really great guy, but we're so quick to turn because he didn't do this thing and I saw somebody else do, or he didn't respond the way I saw another husband respond on social media. And so I think that we have to be willing, because I think if Aunt Bertel would have just used that one thing and say, you know what, I'm gonna just turn because I can't deal with this, she would have. Here they are, 52 years later, and I think the biggest thing is you were willing to evolve. You were willing to change, and so I think that, we see, like, some things are red flags, okay? I saw someone say the other day, they saw red flags, and it looked like 6 flags, so they stuck around. But, so I think that we have to sometimes see, like, I think prayer and the Holy Spirit, sometimes we have to see things through, like, maybe the lens of the Holy Spirit to really know who's who. Really expose this person to me, because people are always going to show us their best. But I think it's something when someone says, I recognize that this is a problem for me, but I really want to grow. And I think when we really start to see that person evolve and that evolution, I think that's when it was like, it was worth sticking around, because this person really isn't who they used to be, and I'm not either. But there was a commitment to say, I know I have to work on this. But I think it's when people say, this is who I am, this is always who I've been, that's when you can begin to say, maybe this is not something I am able to commit to. But when you see that there is literally steps of change, and sometimes steps are still progress, right? And so, people go at their own pace, but when I see that there's steps, because this person is just committed as I am, and I'm making changes because I'm just committed as they are, that's ultimately something that I can commit to that.
And I feel like the turn and run thing too is to allude to social media, it's like people think they have options. There's plenty, you know what I mean, of options out there. So I can
Good
switch and go to any person I want to. If this is causing me a little bit of pain, a little bit of inconvenience, then I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And also, there's not, like I heard you say something about how your mom was giving you like little, you know, pointers and helping you work through that. Like the community, I feel like with marriage, which is why I feel like this podcast is so important, because I don't always feel like there's a community of elders that are pointing into their children and being like, you know, you need to stay, you need to, because I know like a few stories I've heard before of like a spouse, a wife saying, you know, my husband did this and I'm ready to go, and then the mom is like, okay, well, just wait, you know, just have patience, because you know that generation was used to like committing and cooking in the oven. Now we have microwaves and you know, we have quick things, air fryers, you know, so it's not about like the long haul. It's about quick, you know, no, that's not working out, okay, I'm changing it quick, you know, kind of thing. So also that.